That's how that is right there. Like you say, I told you so to break. Not enough seats.
Faces. Gonna let him settle down.
I think they're through the chairs.
I guess. Maybe it's going to run for this next. Maybe. Where is this thing going?
President's report.
Okay, good.
No, I think all we decided was
Yeah, right.
go ahead.
Right.
The first thing,
Okay. Yeah, here it is. Okay, I got it. So we'll get to it soon.
All right. Looks like we're ready to roll.
I think so.
You guys ready? Ready to roll, everyone? So we're skipping the roll calls and starting behind. Okay. Good evening, everyone. We're going to call to order the Rancho Murieta Association Board of Directors meeting for October 16th, 2018. We're going to start with our public comments. So let's start. That's item 3 on your agenda. And just as a quick side note, by the way, and for the board members as well, the agenda does not include our general or our comments at the end, our 3-minute comments. So I'm going to insert that into the agenda between items 10 and 11. So we'll do our board member comments between 10 and 11, just so you guys know. So
Okay.
mark your agendas. All right, public comments. The public shall have the opportunity to directly address the board on any items of interest. Public comments on items not on the agenda and within the jurisdiction of the board are welcome, subject to reasonable time limitations for each speaker. If you wish to address the board at this time, please state your name and lot number and reserve your comments to no more than 3 minutes so that others may be allowed to speak. No action will be taken. Each item of business will be introduced by the president. Public comment for that item will be open. The public will have the opportunity to speak on that item. Public comment for that item will then be closed, and no additional public comment will be allowed. At that time, the board will discuss the item and then take action. So, is there anyone who would like to speak on an item that's not on the agenda this evening? Public comments for anything that's not on the agenda. I know we have a baseball group here today. They are on the agenda, so if you can keep your comments for that item, that would be great. If you do want to say something, please come up to the microphone.
Betty Ferraro, lot 197 on the south. The question I have is, I'm looking at the town hall meeting agenda, and I'm wondering if both RMA and CSD invited the village in order to be part of this, as well as the country club, because I have not heard response on it from either one of them that they feel that they have been invited. So can you tell me if they have been?
I sure can, but sure, Greg sure can.
Yeah, Mark Martin was going to handle the invites to the groups other than RMA and CSD, so he was going to issue those invitations. I thought he did it last week.
Okay, because I know the country club wishes to send 2 people. Okay, and I'm talking to the villages now. So I want to make sure that this gets out to everyone. And I was told that both River Valley Times and .com will be advertising this before the 24th, so we have more people knowledgeable about how important it is that they come to the town hall meeting. For those that are present that don't know about it, we have a town hall meeting here in the RMA building at 6 p.m. on the 24th. It is to be on the agenda of introducing the members here a chance to speak to an evacuation plan in case that we have to evacuate the community, and that means across the street, across the highway as well. And how would you get out of here? What do we need? Who's going to help us, etc. So it's important that you come to this meeting. Again, I feel like a preacher that I keep saying the same thing, but I'm also a teacher, and you say it once, that's okay. Say it 3 times, it might sink in. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. And just if you don't know, the meeting is next Wednesday in this building, and it is a town hall meeting where we want to hear public input on a variety of issues. And there's going to be a series of meetings, security meetings. That's just the first, and that's the one we're dedicated to hearing your input. So we hope if you have something to say, come out and express yourself, and then we'll work from there as well. And the agenda has been posted. Have we posted the agenda? Yeah. Okay. So, thank you. Okay. Any other public comments? Okay. We're going to move on to the consent calendar. Consent calendar items are considered routine and will be approved by one motion. There will be no discussion of the items unless a director requests a specific item to be removed.
I make a motion that we approve the consent calendar.
I'll second it. Oh, go ahead.
I'll second.
We'll give the second to Director Bianchi. There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of the consent calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Looking for item 5, approval of the minutes from September 18.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for September 18th.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Motion and a second for the minutes September 18. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of approving the minutes from September 18, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'll abstain, I was not here.
One abstention. So the motion passes 6-0 with one abstention. President's report, item 6. I have a few things to report out. Out of executive session, the Board of Directors met and approved the minutes from executive session, discussed legal issues, contracts, and approved the foreclosure actions against APN 073-061-013-0000 and APN 073-040-003-0000. My next item is that I do want to announce that the board has extended the general manager's contract. So I just wanted to announce that. I want to say we are happy to report that we extended the general manager's contract. That's Greg over there, if you don't know who our GM is, for 3 more years from February 2019 to 2022. He is getting a small increase in salary and retirement benefits. The details of the extension will be in the budget meeting we have in November. I just wanted to say that there's an old saying that economists know the cost of everything and the value of nothing. Thankfully, we don't have any economists on the board. So what we get with Greg is incredible value. I mean, he knows this community. He's been around the block. Especially knows the NBA really well, and we're really happy to have him on board for another 3 years. I did ask him to prepare a few remarks, but I don't think he wanted to do that.
Well, the only remarks I have is I met with 2 separate homeowners today, and both of them asked me if I was the new general manager. So. No, thank you guys. I look forward to another 3 years, and thank you for the vote of confidence.
Thank you. And do you want to say?
I just want to say thanks. You're a great benefit, a great asset to us.
Okay, thank you. And the last piece on my report is there was a report in the local media about our relationship or the situation with the village and their access. And I just wanted to report out and verify and clarify that we're still in the process of formulating and completing that agreement with the village and their access, and it's not complete yet. We don't have everything in place yet. We're optimistic. We're confident we can get something. Hopefully next month we'll have something to announce for you, and that it will be something that both sides have agreed to. So hold your, give us 1 more month, and I hope that we have something in place that will be official at that point. So. Thank you. That concludes my report. Mr. GM. Item 7.
Yeah, the first item we have is the Murieta Bulldogs use agreement. And so the Murieta Bulldogs are a competitive baseball team consisting of Rancho Murieta players. I think they're here in full force tonight. I don't know if I'm supposed to sing Who Let the Dogs Out or not, but... Anyway, I think the board would like to hear from representatives of the Bulldogs. I think they've got questions about your organization, how you operate, so they can make a better informed decision. There is a letter from the Bulldogs in the board packet, which the board has read, but I think they do have additional questions, and so fire away.
In detail of our organization, kind of the history, the background, what we're doing now, what our future plans are, what we've done. So I'm not really sure where to start, if we want to start with questions, but it's hard to believe that 2 years ago, we have a room this big, and we started with, 10 kids who wanted to play baseball in Rancho Murieta, and it's grown to this. And it's pretty awesome to see. 3 teams from 10 to 12, 13 years old now. Families, and we have over 100 people in our organization now, including families and siblings and whatnot. So it's just great to see it growing to where it's grown to. But what we're here for tonight is to ask for field permission to be able to practice on. By no means to take anything away from Little League or softball or anything else. When they're not practicing or playing, we'd like to have the opportunity to be on the fields. We have a facility across the street which we've built, invested our time and our money in, and it's been quite a journey with that. But we do need outfield field practice as well. And we all live in this community. We all pay fees. Most of this room has been in Little League for since these boys were 5 years old. Lonnie, who's one of our founders, was also on the board for, I think, 8 years, Lonnie? Something like that. I don't know where he went. On the Little League board. Many other people in this room have been on the Little League board. So we are, again, I want to reiterate, we are not trying to take away from Little League whatsoever. We're trying to add to the experience, give the older kids, once they age out in Little League, something else to do. Which one of the things is to come play with us. We have a 13-year-old team this year. We have all the kids on the team are from Murieta. Most of the kids play Little League. They no longer have a place to play in Murieta. So what we're doing is we're offering something for them to do. The 12-year-old team also has quite a few kids that have aged out into Little League. So we're offering them a place to play as well. We have many sponsors and many endorsers in this community, including Summerfest. Mike Martell is a big supporter of ours. He helps sponsors our golf tournament, which is this week. He also helps us sponsor the concert. Julie Teal, the owner of Rayleigh's, is a title sponsor for our concert as well. And Denise and I we got together last year when we put our concert on, and it was a huge success. We did that as a fundraiser. We did it up at the lake, and that was our first year. We'd never done anything like that. We wanted to do something different, new for the community. We can always do better, but we're very happy with where that went. So, we try and do all these community events as well. We try to include everybody we can from the area, and we're pretty happy with the success that we've had so far. So again, what we're asking to be recognized as a group in this community, giving kids something else to do and to stay active and to continue the great game of baseball while staying inside the gates and not having to go play in Elk Grove or Natomas or go to another community to play baseball. So,
I think we're going to have some questions for you, but are there any other speakers that you want to put up on your behalf, or?
I'd offer anybody that wants to come up. I'm trying to capture everything. Any of the boys that want to come up and say anything? Gabriel, you're always full of words. Sean Cager, you're usually good. Cole Davis, you're good at that. Huh? We've got a lot. They're never shy at practice and in the dog pound, but I can tell you that they're shy today.
Well, the board does have all the information that you submitted, so we've been able to look at that, and I think we will have some questions for you. So, board, want to start with any questions?
Your practice fields are across the street. Are you using, there's a field over there at the end of the road there where the church is. Mm-hmm. Are you using that field?
No, we're not. It's in really poor shape. I mean, we've tried to utilize every place around here we can, but it's dangerous for the most part, a field like that. When I said across the street, I apologize. We opened up our own hitting facility, an indoor batting cage at the airport, which we fundraised and donated money to get that up and running. And we offer that to really anybody in the community who wants to use it, including Little League as well. So that's our only really home facility that we have, is a 1,500 square foot facility. There's a page in the PowerPoint that describes kind of what it is.
How much do you charge the youth to play in your league?
Well, this is our first year of really having a true fee for the year. We've always done it in the past where we've bought our own uniforms. Parents have bought their own uniforms. Whatever we've fundraised, we've used to buy additional uniforms. We really didn't have a number last year because we were just trying to survive. To be honest, we just started. This is our first year that we have 3 teams. And we're charging our parents and our kids $1,200 a year to play. That includes uniforms, and that includes the rental of the dog pound for someplace for us to go and practice. For 3 teams, we're a nonprofit. You can see a tax ID. We make nothing on this deal. We're not in this for profit. Lonnie Trillo and Cable Davis and I and Heather and Joe and my wife can show you that we haven't made a penny on this. As a matter of fact, we're still owed money, a lot of it, but it's that important to us. So this is the first year. The $1,200 that we're charging per kid once they commit to the team is a September through September kind of drill. So that's really it. That
You have sponsorships for kids who can't afford that.
We haven't ran into that yet, but we certainly would. Absolutely, yeah. We had a few that couldn't afford it last year, and they're still on the team this year, and we continue to have them on the team. So that's our hope, is to get places, or sponsorships like Summerfest, like Rayleigh's, from anybody. Any extra money we can raise in our golf tournament, our concert, our tamale sales go directly into helping kids that can't afford it.
Are there charges for the leagues that you play in?
$600 a tournament. Yeah, it's every other weekend when we kind of get going, and it's about $600. It's usually a 3-game. There's not a real league or a tournament, or I'm sorry, a league. It rotates, so we travel. We're at Mather one weekend. We're at Woodland one weekend. We're in Manteca another. South Lake Tahoe, North Lake Tahoe. There is no really league for those kids at this age, so that's where they're going with this. But yeah, it's not cheap to play in that league either.
That's on top of the 600 is on top of the 1,200.
Well, it's 600 per team. It's
Okay.
600 per team.
Per team.
Yeah, so it breaks down to about 50 or 60 bucks a kid per tournament is what it kind of comes down to.
I have a question for you.
Yep.
Is there a, for lack of a better word, a parent company for your league? Is there someone that you answer to regarding
Like
the
a
rules?
governing body? A governing body?
Yeah, a governing body. There's not.
No, it's so travel baseball or competitive baseball is generally a for-profit kind of thing. There's a lot of organizations out there that charge people a lot more money than we are, to the tune of, I think we've seen as high as $15,000 a year to play, where we're charging $1,200, and our kids are getting a lot more than those kids are. So they're all independent. A lot of organizations will have, like ours, they'll have multiple age groups. So we have multiple age groups, but not to the extent of anybody else. I mean, we're...
So how do you set your schedules up and stuff like that? Is there a title for the league that you belong to, that you play with?
It's not necessarily a league. It's just it's a team. It's a competitive USSSA all-world league. And there's every weekend there's anywhere between 6 and 12 teams in a tournament. So we have to go online and find tournaments to play in. This isn't certainly something we would ever have games or tournaments here. This is strictly a practice. We always go off-site to play.
Okay.
Yeah. But we are also fully insured through State Farm. We have insurance hit there. We have insurance for our team. We have insurance at every game we play in. So, we would have no problem providing, having RMA be on the insurance as well, or anybody for that matter.
Do you play year-round, and would you need the practice field year-round, even in the winter?
We try to play year-round, but generally what we do is we take off July and August for families to be able to travel. It's summer, it's really hot. There's not a lot of tournaments that are air-conditioned and indoor, so it's really hot. We generally play about, I would say about 6 months out of the year. Probably 6 months out of the year. Now, that doesn't mean that while the kids, for instance, most of these kids, like in this row right here, I think they're all playing soccer. So right now, we're not playing baseball. We're just getting together once a week, keeping them fresh, you know, so that they don't, you know, try and come out and they're raw, they're rusty, whatever the case may be. So, you know, we're not 100% baseball. We encourage every sport. We encourage basketball and soccer and everything else. So we don't necessarily need the fields every day, every week, every month. We just, you know, if we want to get out and throw it around on a Sunday in October when we're not really even playing yet, we just would really like to have that opportunity.
Do you have other fields that you practice at now?
No, we don't.
So you operate during Little League season?
Operate and play, yeah, we do. Yeah, we play roughly January to July through June.
So the teams the younger teams that you field those teams during Little League season as well?
They play on our team as well as Little League. So I know that the 10 or the 11-year-old team this year, is Billy here? No. Okay, Denise. So this is really the first year that we've had a younger organization. We've always had 12. We have kids that have aged out, again, on the 13-year-old team that I coached. So there are kids that are doing both. But we do not conflict as far as if there's games, we're not scheduling. You know, if we have Little League, if there's Little League, like last year we had kids playing Little League, and we would try to schedule our tournaments around when they played in Little League so that they weren't missing Little League. So we had, I think, 3 tournaments during Little League last year. Lonnie? Yeah.
Are your tournaments usually on weekends?
They're all on weekends.
They're all on weekends.
They're all on
Okay.
weekends. They're
All right.
Saturday and Sunday tournaments.
Okay.
You know, what we would be looking for is probably a day during the week to utilize the fields, and like a Sunday. I mean, we're not, again, the last thing we want to do is interfere with Little League and what they have out here, because it is a great thing. I mean, it's fantastic. I ran the Cal Ripken League in Elk Grove I was the president of the league for 2 years. I oversaw the implementation of travel ball coming into our league and working with them to make sure that everybody had the opportunity to play, whether they wanted to play in Cal Ripken or Little League, or they wanted to play competitively. So I've been through this once with my younger son, or my older son, so I kind of know the ins and outs about the do's and don'ts. And, you know, again, personally, we are advocates of what goes on out here, and we don't want to interfere with that.
Can you explain to the board maybe the difference from a player's vantage point between Little League, your league, and the transition to college, and maybe what some of the older players may be looking to accomplish with participating in a team such as yours?
Sure, yeah. So, you know, Little League and Cal Ripken are pretty much everybody plays. Everybody gets, you know, to play. Everybody gets to, you know, be there. We offer that opportunity to everybody. We encourage people to come and try out and see what we haven't had numbers yet to tell them, sorry, you can't play. Like, we haven't done that yet, and I don't see us doing it.
But you might. Is that something you might do?
Sure. I mean, it's a competitive
Okay.
environment. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so that's just something I wanted to clear up, is that, so it's not open to everybody. Everybody can come out, but, so say you have a Rancho Murieta resident that thinks that he wants to play, he's 12 years old, he's aged out, and he wants to play, but his skill level isn't there, will he be cut? Conceivably?
Yeah. Now, does that mean that we wouldn't, you know, if we had 20 kids come out, we wouldn't look to have 2 teams? So they could? Yeah. It's a more competitive environment, though. To your point, Stephanie, it's, you know, we're talking about these kids are probably all going to play high school baseball. That's our hope. That's what we want them to do. We want them to play high school and college. It's just another step for them. The competitive baseball thing is nothing new. This is something that's been going on and is going on in communities all over the place. It just happens to be in Rancho Murieta. No one's ever really built a travel ball team. No one's ever built a competitive baseball team. We did that to give our kids the advantage. Most of the kids, a lot of kids in this community play competitive soccer, or either comp or what's the other soccer, y'all?
Select.
competitive or select, as well as, they play in the Elk Grove League, right? So that's all this is just a form of competitive baseball, similar to competitive soccer or select soccer.
Do you have to be a Rancho Murieta resident?
Me?
No, the players.
All of them. Yeah, we have one player on my team that's not, but they live right down the street on Slough House. Raj, where are you at? Yeah, right here. They all go to either Albiani or Crest or something like that. So, and we have signed address and petition and everything too to see that we do have over, I think it's 27 players that are all Rancho Murieta residents.
And
So
that's 27 out of how many?
27 out of 30.
Okay.
30 full-time players.
So if you were to expand into another team or another league, would you go outside of Rancho Murieta to recruit if you couldn't find enough players within Rancho Murieta?
I don't know about recruit. The problem is we haven't had enough kids show up. We go to tournaments with 9 players, sometimes 10 players. But there's always going to be a kid, I'm sure, or two that we're going to, we have friends that live in Elk Grove or Laguna or whatever, but, the majority of this team, a very strong percentage, 90% or above, are all Rancho Murieta residents. Yeah.
You mentioned that you might want to practice during the weekdays.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have a specific time? Would it be afternoons, evenings?
Well, the kids go to school.
Right,
We work.
okay.
We're no different. We've all coached. We've all coached the Little League in Cal Ripken and that. So, it's a 5 o'clock kind of thing. It's a 6 o'clock kind of thing. And obviously, wintertime, it's not going to be available. The fields are going to be wet, and we're respectful of that. And we don't ever get on them and damage them. And, we take care of them whenever we're around them, and we all have for years. But we don't have any dates. We're seriously looking to look at your calendar and say, we'll take whatever we can get at this point. We're not being, greedy. We don't want anything that we haven't earned or that would take away from Little League softball, even adult softball and bandits and everything else that goes on in these parks. We're just looking for a couple spots.
I don't know if this is different from Cheryl's question, but so if you're not part of a sanctioning body, if you're not registered, are your coaches vetted, registered, background checks? Are they registered with USSA?
USSSA?
Are your coaches registered somewhere where they go through a background process and they're certified as coaches for the youth sport?
There's no certification for USSSA or any organization. It's not like a Little League or a soccer or anything like that.
Hey, I know it feels like you're getting the third degree. God
I'm here,
bless
bring
you.
it. Let's go. I'm good.
God bless you for coaching. I know it takes a lot of time and that said, I got a couple more questions.
Please.
If you didn't exist, if your organization doesn't exist, what options would be out there for them?
Another travel ball team, perhaps Hard 90, which is $500-600 a month based in El Dorado Hills. Perhaps the Yard in Elk Grove, which is $400 a month plus. Possibly a senior Babe Ruth program, which I don't know where that's gone. I know they've attempted to do a 13, 14-year-old group out here attached to Little League, which I believe Babe Ruth, right? Affiliation. And have been unsuccessful. Under Little League, have been unsuccessful for 4 years now to field a team.
Why was that successful? Just
Numbers, purely numbers. They couldn't get enough to field teams. Go ahead, Lonnie.
You at that age, you're either lose interest in baseball and go play
Right.
cross or something
Right.
like that, or they're like, this is what I want to do, I'm going to go play for a travel ball team, which is what we do, but they have to go outside the case because there's nothing to care for.
Why don't you come up and join him at the podium? That'd be great.
He's not much of a talker.
We do need to pick up your voice on the microphone, though, sometimes, though. If you're gonna speak some more, come on up. Let me ask you one other thing. You have in your letter that you sent to us that you're very willing, and I think you mentioned it in your statements, that you're very willing to work with the association, which is, us, and the existing contracting members, I assume you mean Krill, to better the facilities at the parks and whatnot. What is Krill not giving you that you can't be part of them, you can't merge or participate and work with them to be part of a organization?
I don't, we've looked at trying to become partners, but it's a completely different organization. It's, this is again, a competitive-based sport, right? That really, we can't have ties to Little League. We would have to be in a senior Babe Ruth league. I mean, Little League is a completely separate entity. They don't go past 12 years old for Little League. What they do is they go into another league, senior Babe Ruth and a Babe Ruth league, and then it becomes traveling. It's only a certain part of the year. It's only for a couple months generally, and it's more of a league. So we don't have any affiliation with Little League or Cal Ripken for that matter. We're one of, I don't know how many teams. I mean, we can go on a tournament on a weekend, and there's 60 teams at this tournament. We're one of 60 single organizations, is what we are.
I was just going to say, from my understanding, having played sports and softball myself, to answer your question maybe a little bit more directly, is my understanding is as kids get older and they're gearing up for playing college competitively or whatnot, it's just kind of the natural progression of ball playing is you're playing more competitive, and Little League is typically
I got
more.
you. So we can't have a competitive arm of Krill.
It's typically not associated with Little League, is my experience.
Yeah.
So, and I'll just give you the, I mean, there's no, because I run the youth lacrosse league, I think everybody knows that. Mm-hmm. And here's the issue, or one of the issues, because what it comes down to for me, what always comes down to is what's best for the kids. And giving kids an opportunity that they normally wouldn't have is fantastic. We love to provide that. If you have some kids that want to play competitively and they're all Rancho Murieta kids, we would like to provide that. The sticking points is that you're not the only sport. Okay, there's other sports out here that have the same thing. And if the association is going to truly support a community-based program, we really need to define what community-based organization is and what we're supporting. So, for instance, I've had kids for lacrosse that they want to, same thing, they want to take it to the next level. They're looking to play collegiately, they want to play something besides rec, or they're looking to go further, they want to play year-round. And my stance as the president of the club has been there's opportunities for you that are out there within the community that you can do that. Rancho Murieta is not going to provide that for you because we wouldn't be truly having cuts and charging kids quite a bit of money. At least in my opinion, and for my particular sport, I don't see that as a truly community-based organization. I could be in the minority on that. And then also, what it kind of leads to, I know it could lead to a soccer, and this, what I'm afraid to lead with the Little League, is that now you have two competing entities out here for kids, right? You have one where kids can potentially be cut, and then you have some friends. Well, my friends are on that team, and so I want to be on that team. Well, you're not good enough to be on that team. And okay, if you want to go outside the gates and you find your own entity, and your kid tries out and he makes the team, that's a little bit different. But within the gates and trying to have two community-based entities for the same sport, I have a little bit of trouble with that. I'm not saying I can't be swayed, because again, what it comes down to is there are a group of kids that are looking for an opportunity out here. I just have questions, and then what happens if we let a competitive baseball team? Then what happens the next time the coach comes to me and says, "Hey, coach, hey, Rob, my team wants to go. I'm going to take my kids, and we're going to go year-round. We want to practice out here at Rancho Murieta. We want to play lacrosse year-round. We want to practice out here. I'm going to take my U14 team, and we're going to be a travel team." So then, how do I defend against that? How does soccer defend against that when his coach comes to him and says the same thing? They want to have a separate entity. They want to have a travel. They want to have a tournament team. And now we have multiple entities competing for field space out here, and some of them, that's where I think we really need to define, and maybe we can do this in the next week or so, maybe we can get together and we can define what a community-based organization is and what we're going to support.
Yeah, those are valid points, completely valid. You know, my question is like the lacrosse situation, right? How many of the lacrosse players are Rancho Murieta kids?
Probably 90%.
90?
Yes.
Okay, that's a lot. Similar to us, I would say. Soccer, soccer has 3 levels as well, right? They have the youth, everybody plays.
Right.
Then they have the select, and they have the comp. So they have levels of soccer. I mean, you know, being part of a competitive organization is it's just about life. I mean, it really is. There's some kids that are going to play, you know. These kids and these parents have chosen, as members of this community, they've chosen that they want their kids to play at another level. And they have put their time in and their money and their dues. And it's important to them to play at another level. Maybe they have older kids who have done that already. You know, maybe they have other sports that they've played and they've seen the importance of competitive sports. But they've made the decision, the boys have made the decision. You know, if we don't allow this to happen, my concern is, what are half of these boys going to do? What are they going to do? There's not a lot to do out here. We have enough problems out here. We do. We have enough vandalism and, you know, at the parks, and we have security, you know, harassing them for all sorts of stuff. We want to keep them busy and keep them competitive. A lot of these boys won't play Little League anymore because they've had situations where somebody's going to get hurt. You know, these boys are bigger and stronger now, and, you know, we need to give them another opportunity. So that's all we're providing. That's all we're trying to do, is to give them another opportunity. But again, and maybe that is the board's opportunity to take this and say, hey, we will be open to allowing other teams to come and practice and do this if you are 75% Rancho Murieta based, if you are 80%. I don't know what the number is. You would all know that better than me. But I don't think that is Little League 100% Rancho Murieta residents?
And I don't even think that would, again, right, and I would, again, then you're excluding people that live outside the gates, and that's not necessarily one of my concerns, is that the whole team is 100%. If you have a kid that lives, you know, somewhere right outside the gates, he's obviously part of this community. Yeah. Said he goes to the same school as the kids, that kind of thing.
Yep.
That's not necessarily a concern of mine.
Yeah.
But the concern is the competing entities. It's a little concerning, just because I've been there, been through it, to have a team and have coaches that don't answer to an entity. I'm not saying that would hold me back either, but it is a concern of mine. You're representing, you guys all have Rancho Murieta on your jerseys.
MB, Murieta Bulldogs.
And you're going out to tournaments and things like that. Is there some control over the coaches? Are they certain? You know, so there's just some concerns that I have just from that experience.
Well, I would question some of the coaches I've seen with entities attached to them. I would question the Little League coaches.
Exactly.
You know? And they're still coaching.
Right on. That's
they're still so they haven't been reprimanded for their actions by an entity. So I can tell you, I respect the game. Lonnie respects the game. Cable Davis respects the game. Mike Tozy respects the game. Billy Hayes. We would never do anything to put a bad name on our community. You ask these boys, when we travel, we meet in the hotel lobby and tell them, you get out of order, you misrepresent the Murieta Bulldogs, you're gone. You're off. You're off the team. We are representing our community, our team, our organization, something we built. We had a parent that, matter of fact, came out for the 11-year-old tryout. Our team wanted to play, and his dad didn't like the speech that I gave to the boys. He said it was too rigid, and it was too much like the Army, and there was too much they had to do, and there was too much discipline. And I just flat out told him, then we don't want you to be a part of this organization, because we are rigid, and we do demand our boys to be, you know, highlights of this community and pillars. And
was a great speech, man.
So, thank you, Chuck. So, it is important to us, and we do wear that Murieta patch proud. You know, we really do.
So can I say one real quick thing? I think you're looking for, so when we go to tournaments, and if we were to act inappropriately, we will be kicked off, and we will be not allowed to play in that tournament throughout Northern California. So somebody is above us, that if we don't act appropriately as coaches, as players, we will be reprimanded and, you know, not being, we haven't had any of that though, ever.
So it's good to say that you have a code of conduct not only for the coaches, but also for the players, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And
Could you state your name and lot number?
My name's Lonnie Trillo.
Okay, thanks.
one other question, and if I'm just getting this right, in your history, you've never turned away a child to play ball, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And I will, let's just be clear, we have had multiple kids leave our organization for reasons that I don't think we need to divulge. I think every coach understands, right, that some kids just aren't cut out for this, or for Little League for that matter, for disciplinary or whatever the case may be, maybe not being ready. So while we've never turned any away, we have had kids leave our organization. But any organization is going to have that, especially with 10-year-old, 11-year-old boys who every one of their parents think they should play pitcher and shortstop, right? I think we all agree with that. This whole front row, we'd have a team of shortstops if it was up to them.
Okay, I'd like to have the board engage in its discussion. So if there's anyone else in the public who'd like to speak, we're going to have to ask you to come now and speak on this issue. Otherwise, we're going to close public comment. Anyone else want to speak on this issue?
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
I was just
And
going to
you'll need to come to the microphone if you want.
Given that you're a private organization and don't necessarily have an overarching governing body such as Little League, you could then say for your coaches that you could structure some sort of requirement, whether it's a life scan process, this is excessive, but a background check, or something to have in place, some sort of protection for the kids, for the coaches that are coaching on the team. I believe Little League and soccer have something in place, some sort of structure for the coaches to...
We could certainly look into it. I mean, I think we're all...
Not that you all aren't trustworthy, but I'm just saying...
We're very upstanding citizens, yeah. I think we're all good, but yeah, I mean, if this became a part of RMA and we actually became a part of the community and felt a part of the community instead of feeling the way that we feel now, then I think we would be willing to do whatever was asked of the board. I mean, we're not going anywhere. We've got, young brothers on this team that are 5 and 6 that are chomping at the bit. I mean, where's Tucker? I mean, he's the one that spilt the Chex Mix under the carpet, but he's got his Bulldog hat and shirt on. He's 5 years old. He's 6 years old. He looks up to these boys. This is something that they look forward to doing, and they're excited. And Bo too, yeah. So I mean, we got, again, we've got the young kids in mind, and we've got our future in mind. This is not, I've seen it enough in when I've done this before that, people are out for their kid, and that's it. That's all they're in it for, is their kid, to get them better. We've built something that we want to continue on, and we want your support.
Okay, any further public comment? And if you can limit your public comments to 3 minutes, please. Thank you.
If you need my lot number, we're in very big trouble. It'll be like an hour and a half for me to find my paperwork. But I'm Jessica Robinson, a parent. This is our second year on the Bulldogs. My husband, Brad, actually sat on the Little League board. Our youngest does play Little League and will continue, so we'll be participating in both organizations, both great organizations. But one thing I'd really request that you take into mind is most of us parents, most of us are double working families, and so for our kids to compete at this level, having the practices here changes our world. And I can tell you, we have had people and friends who've literally moved out of Rancho Murieta because their kids show promise, as do these boys, and they can't keep up with it. And we have to work to be able to do that, and we have to work to be able to do that here as if we played at any other competitive team. And I think Scott told you, we're a very inexpensive team in comparison. So that doesn't mean that we're a privileged group of kids that are playing something nobody else can play. We're actually allowing them to play this and other sports. And so for our family, my husband's a a homicide detective, I'm an attorney, and we really are very big in promoting sports and education and those things, and this organization has allowed us to do that. And so I would beg of you that you consider the interests of all the parents and the community members, and let's not let good kids and good families leave this community because they're concerned about promise and college and the things that these kids are God-given talent that they've been given. So that's why I ask of you. Thank you.
I'm Rhonda Baker and my son Jack Baker. This is his first year on Bulldogs. He's played Little League here for 5 or 6 years, I don't know how long. He's aged out of Little League. He can't play. Last year was his last year, and he loves baseball. He hopes to play baseball in high school. If he goes these 2 years in junior high and he's not playing baseball, he's not going to be playing in high school. So I've been taking him back and forth to El Dorado Hills 2-3 times a week to Hard 90. That's a big trip. He started junior high this year. He gets up at 5:30 in the morning. He has to be at the bus stop at 6:30 to be to school at 8. He gets home at 4. He takes all honors classes, and he's a straight A student, as he has been all through his years at Cress. So he has a full load. For him to participate in sports is a big deal. He can't do that and then have me driving him to El Dorado Hills to do Hard 90 and then, keep up his grades and do all of that. So for him to be able to do his sports here is really important. So if he can't do them here, my options are either move or take him out of sports. And I hate to have to make that choice. So it's really important. Thank you.
Any final questions, comments?
Any final comments from the public other than what we've heard? Okay, so seeing none, we're going to go ahead and close public comment on this issue and allow the board a time to discuss it and to. It does say that we have a board action here, so that could mean a series of things. So I'm going to let the board have their time. Who would like to start?
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
I think the one main issue is the use of the fields. I mean, I think that's the whole thing, Can they be overused, and the timing of when the fields are available? Because obviously, multiple groups need them during the weekdays and the evenings. And then the weekdays are... So, I mean, I think those are the issues. And overusing the fields so that they get in a condition that they're not good for anybody to use. So I think those are some of the issues.
Well, one of the
I mean,
things-
I don't know when we can find time to schedule them in, or if anybody's looked at that. Or
One of the things I would like to offer is one of the reasons why this became an issue, and I'd like to offer my apologies, is because of the slow pitch adult softball league. So I have mentioned to the board that although I know the slow pitch softball has been popular, kids take priority first and foremost always. So if it's going to be at the expense of the Bulldogs playing, then I'd be willing to put that on the back burner.
I know one of the concerns about the board has directed some questions and some previous discussion would be if they were to prepare a code of ethics or something for the staff. That might ease some of your concerns.
Yeah.
No, I was just directing it to the rest of the board here.
Sure.
Well, I'd go one step further and say that I think some kind of organizational guidelines or regulations for, create a real organization, because you've certainly got the structure for it in a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And, have a code of conduct for the kids, the parents sign some kind of a, I don't know, do they sign any kind of a form when they enroll in your group? Something like that, and then, guidelines for future coaches, that kind of thing. I think that was a concern that we would want to make sure that there's, all your coaches now are part of your group because you started it together. At some point you're going to have to be training new coaches or whatever, and so maybe put some guidelines in there for future coaches and that kind of thing. So get organized. But I think that the fact that these are all kids that live out here in Rancho Murieta, that they've got just involved, strong parent involvement. I think their point of not having to drive 50 miles round trip to, take their kids to these kind of opportunities is a real selling point for having a team here. So I, for one, would be in favor of recognizing them as a Rancho Murieta group, and then I think finding the field space, once or twice a week, I think is all you're asking for. So we would want to look at, what the usage is now and see if we can find a spot. So that's kind of where I feel.
What I'd like to do too is maybe in the next week or so, and if we could have a representative from the Bulldogs, I would like to sit down with the head of Little League and also the head of soccer, all three entities, and see if we can, because honestly the decision of the board to move forward and to allow a competitive travel team to operate within Rancho Murieta it doesn't just affect you guys, it's going to affect the rest of the sports groups out here. And so see if we can get together and figure out how we can accommodate everybody. And I think I think at least get some input from all the organizations before we make a decision.
All right.
Greg, we concluded that Sunday is fairly wide open for activities that they might have, their practices. How about weekdays? The evenings, are they pretty booked up?
Right now they're booked up, yes.
So how will just Sundays work for you? Say 8 to 4 in that time slot? Just
Yeah, which fields are you guys looking at using?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well, I guess,
So,
fields 1 and 2, or?
Honestly, the junior field, the one that was just scraped, that is, the new grass is planted out there, which is fantastic. That field would suit all of our teams because those are the kind of fields we play on. All we would ask is that we would have to get the base pegs put in that are the proper length for the boys. That one field would be fine for us for any time that's available. For all three teams, we could all use that. Say on a Sunday, we had a 6-hour window. My team was from 9 to 11, 11 to 1, 1 to 3, something like that. That would work fine. As far as during the week, we're going to run into daylight here really soon. 6 o'clock, 6:15, or it's 5 o'clock, it'll get dark. We probably won't be able to do that in the winter, so we could address that at that time. But one of the 2 lighted fields, one day of the week would be fantastic.
Okay.
And we've all coached together. The boys have played together, so we have no problem running a practice together as well. Get all the boys out together and knock it out if we have to, because obviously at night we're only going to be in that probably 6 to 8 window.
Okay, so to answer your question, that field Monday through Saturday is used by the outfield is used by soccer, and so Sunday would be the only available day on that field.
Okay. Thank you.
so that field is free on Sunday then, right?
I'm sorry.
The field he was.
Well, softball is using it right now too, and the Bandits use it a couple, 5 or 6 times a year. But softball is using it on Sunday also.
And what time does softball play?
4 and 5:30 typically. I think, yeah. Next week.
Any further discussion on the board?
And again, if I can just say, softball has their time. That's fine. We'll go around them. We don't have to have it every Sunday, every single time. We get that. We're willing to work with both organizations. And I do want to make one other comment about getting together with Little League, Rob, is that I sent an email Wednesday to, is it Rob? Rob Winter? Who is it? Rob Winter, the president of Little League, kind of trying to break the ice with the 2 organizations. And he's already responded back. He's out of town, but he said, as soon as I get back into town, I'm happy to meet with you. I think it's important that we do work together. These are 2, we're in communication with them already. I am personally. Rob and I have a conversation going back and forth already. We want both things to work. We need to coexist. So just so you know, I've already sent an email to Rob prior to any of this, reaching out to say we're willing to work together. So
Great,
just
thank
so the
you.
board knows.
Did he say when he was going to be back in town?
I think today. Is today Tuesday? My days run together. Tuesday or Wednesday? I think he's back. He might be back tomorrow.
Okay, board, any further discussion on this?
Well, Rob, if you want to meet with, I'll meet with you guys, you want to meet with the Little League, and we'll have some dialogue.
Give me time to get Doug Mouse and Rob Winter and
Scott Abraham.
And Scott, along with Greg, get together so we can kind of hammer out some of these issues, and so we can find out how we can accommodate everybody.
And we report back next month and see where you guys want to go.
Rob.
I would really hesitate, you know, and I said, God bless you, and you know, this is awesome that you guys have this passion. But I hesitate to make a decision without consulting the other players that are involved with this in terms of the field use. So I think that'd be a great idea.
I mean, it shouldn't getting everyone in one room is the main thing, but I don't think it would be. I don't think it would be a prolonged thing. It should just take, you know, within a week or so, we should be able to get everybody in one room and figure it out.
So you making a motion?
I am making a motion.
Can you clarify it again?
No. I don't know how to word that. I motion that the board allow me time to bring the community groups together to figure out how we can accommodate the Bulldogs in field time.
I'll second it.
Okay, there's still time for discussion.
I just have one more comment, and you don't have to respond to this, but it's obviously, I assume since you practice year-round or almost year-round, with the exception of a few times, that you don't practice in inclement weather where the field would be muddy and it would be damaged from your practices. So that would probably be one of the criteria. You don't have to respond to that. It's just more of a comment.
No, we've gone to the extent to build our own facility. That's how passionate we are, because we were tired of working out on, you know, in the cage, and the balls were getting wet and the boys were cold, and so we built a facility across the street.
We're pretty proud of that baseball field out there that has new sod on it. So.
We're very proud of it. Yeah, we are too.
I think we need to wrap this up. I think we're good. Is there any further discussion among the board?
I just have a quick question. So are we then authorizing Rob to decide on our behalf whatever agreement they come to, or is he bringing it back to them?
I'll bring it back to the board. I won't make a decision.
Everything would come back to the board for decision, yeah.
And I think one of the main concerns is that we don't get overuse on the field, you know.
Yeah, sure.
I think, you know,
And
I think that is one of the things.
Good. Anything else? I think this is a weighty decision for this board because I think it changes the complexion of what we have, and so I think we should take our time and make sure we talk to all the groups involved. So is there any further discussion on this item? Was there a second? I'm sorry, did we get a second?
Yeah, I seconded it.
Awesome. So there's the Rob motion and a second, and I don't see any further discussion. So all in favor of bringing the community groups together for the discussion that was mentioned in the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Looks like the motion passed 7-0, and we'll move on to our next item, which is restroom update.
Okay, the restrooms are completed. They're scheduled to ship on the 22nd, and so, okay, I'll let everybody leave.
Wait, Alex, why don't we wait till people...
Thank you, guys. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I said, hey, you guys can stay for the rest of the meeting. We got to go to the check register, and we got a couple other hot items. You guys want to stick around?
Restrooms are real important.
All right.
Bunch of fair weather fans.
Greg, I think we're ready. Go ahead.
So, must be Giants fans, huh? I think I've been leaving early.
Probably got your Dodgers.
All right, again, the restrooms are completed. They're scheduled to ship on the 22nd. I think it's about a week to get them out here. The ADA ramp has been constructed out at Lake Clementia, and so you've got a nice long concrete ramp going up to where the restrooms are going to be installed. So hopefully in about 2 to 3 weeks we'll be ready to go with them. So, any questions?
Next item.
Nope.
Oh,
I think future contracts, we should put a penalty clause in
For late
delays.
Yeah. Making us hold it, huh?
Especially when that line out of Clementia gets longer and longer for the restroom.
I think we're going to be happy when it's finally completed. The next item is, last month we had a request to provide a Rancho Murieta welcome group with a monthly list of escrows that closed. The group would then do a meet and greet with the new owners, welcoming them to Rancho Murieta. The staff recommendation is to provide the monthly escrow closings to the welcome group for the purpose of welcoming new members to the community. So it'd take a board action if you guys want to move ahead with that, or if you have any questions or concerns.
Does Stephanie want to talk to us about it, or is there anything else you want to add? Is that?
I don't think there's anything.
This is not, Greg, we're not divulging any private information.
No. It's all public record.
Yeah, this is all public record that takes like a month to 2 months to come out.
And it's easy enough to obtain and pass on.
Yeah, we prepared it already, so, yeah.
Doesn't take a week's of staff time.
No.
All right, I just have one question then. If it's easy to obtain, then why is RMA doing it?
I mean, it's much quicker and more targeted if we do it. By the time the recording's done and they get online at the recorder's office, it could be 30 to 60 days, and we just have the information more rapidly.
And Rob, the other reason is I don't want to miss anybody. And so it would be me doing it by myself or with my members, and I would absolutely hate that we miss it, and that could look bad on other entities in the community if, and I don't want that to happen.
Steph, go ahead.
I was just saying, I just asked because I'm all for the idea, right? And it's probably me. It's probably just my nature, and I'm probably in the minority. But I don't, thinking about it, I don't know how I would feel. Well, I know how I would feel. I don't know how everybody else would feel if I knew Rancho Murieta, if I knew the association gave that to a new incoming, someone that's just moving in. I know it sounds weird, and like I said, it's probably just me. But that's my nature. A stranger comes up to me, and even though you're welcoming us to the neighborhood, my immediate reaction is going to be like, "Who are you? And how'd you know I just moved in here?"
Yeah, Rob, you are.
Is it just me?
Actually,
the law enforcement.
But
actually,
Rob, you've got a very good point, because there actually was a ton of legal cases over the fact that HOAs have a membership list of all their members, and members within the community stated they had a right to that membership list because they were part of the community, and so there's a lot of, went all the way to circuit courts and everywhere else. And so now the only way an association can give away a membership list is to members if the member comes in with a legitimate reason to receive that information, and then the association can release that list, but they can't release it for any other reason. And so there has been a lot of court cases that have gone around about the association releasing that information. And so I guess what we're looking at here is, we're looking at their reason, which is to welcome the members of the community, and it's kind of up to the board to determine if that's a legitimate reason to give out that information.
Is there, and I was just thinking outside the box, is there a way that you can do it and keep RMA out of it? Like, could you reach out to the realtors and say, hey, we're the Rancho Murieta Welcoming Group, and this way the realtors could notify you, hey, we just sold house to this is
so not every realtor in this community sells houses. Actually, the person that sold their house was not a person of this community. It was someone in Modesto, and the person that we used was out of Wilton. So they would never have known, neither one of those people. So that would be another situation where I would miss out on someone. And again, I would hate for that to happen.
What if, for example, with our community directory, there's a document that we can sign to be either included or excluded from the directory with our names and phone numbers? Is that included with part of an escrow packet that they sign as part of the association paperwork?
Well, at that point, they would be,
I'm just wondering if there would be a way for people to exclude themselves from the process.
It comes in the welcome package, I think.
because with the directory, if there's no changes, you don't send that in. And I'm thinking also, once you're in the directory.
You only send it if you want to.
Right,
Right,
if you want it,
right.
okay.
And there's a cutoff time for that, right?
And also with the escrow closings, this is all happening prior to somebody receiving any of that, going through any of those processes, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Also, this has been done twice before in different ways, and I know you probably don't understand the history of it, but at one time, the women's group, the ladies club, had someone in their organization that went out and did welcome baskets to new members. And then I had a friend whose daughter did it, and she did it in coordination with the merchants across the street. And from what I understand, the hardest problem was contacting the residents and actually making contact, letting them know you're going to come over and welcome them, because, you know, they work and then they have evenings and weekends. Just some history that it has been done twice before that I know of.
Yeah, no, I have definitely done research in the prior times, or the prior time that I have heard that it has happened. And I also have done a lot of research on HOAs providing this within their association and having orientation nights where all the members or all the new people come and they do potlucks, and there's a lot of different things, but I have definitely done a lot of research, and we've had many committee meetings already. So.
Stephanie, how many people are you going to have help you with this?
Right now I have 10 to 15, and I haven't even put it out to anybody.
And the packet will include
Really,
items
honestly,
that
I
you're gonna
wanted to keep it very simple. The packet was just going to include a front and back sheet of all the community groups in the community, a way to contact them, any Facebook groups that would give them good information on the community and where they can join. rm.com would be on there for good information, as well as mostly just giving them that welcome, maybe some housekeeping tips and so on and so forth, and helping them along with any kind of things like how to get to the north and south. It took me like a month and a half to figure that out. You know, and I was waiting for my barcode for like 3 weeks in the mail, and it never showed up.
Open this up to advertisers and like dentists and doctors that want to stick a little $20 off coupon in there.
So I did talk to a couple businesses about coupons, 3, so I'm batting 100 for 100, but I haven't actually went any further because I'm waiting on you guys. But I have thought of that. I did not want to start out with something like a gift basket, which is hard to sustain, because that would be a cost out of my pocket as well. You know, I'd probably just pay for it. So I didn't want it to start out like that. I really just wanted it to be a handwritten note from one of the 2 people that come saying thank you for, thank you or welcome to the community. And then our phone number, if you have any questions, please contact us. And then there would be the front and back of all the information, so it's very easily to find instead of that packet that you get from RMA, which has like tons of things flying out. And then just, do you have any questions? And that was kind of about it.
Well, and it sounds great. I'm not sure it's germane that we need to know what's in the packet. They just want to know
because
the escrow,
this isn't
right?
directly related to RMA.
No, and I would not offer any
just
kind
needs
of.
to know if we're going to get her the escrow stuff. So
yes,
so
limit it to that.
And that's kind of my point. Like I said, I love the idea. I think it's a great idea. And if you have a group that's wanting to do it, I just don't think that RMA should be the one that gives out the information, especially if it's available through another avenue. I just don't think that we should be the one to give out that information. But that's just
I just would hate to get there 2 months later and it's pointless.
well, it's not necessarily, but yeah, I know. But I don't know. I just don't think we should be.
Is there any further public comment on this item? Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. All right, board. We need discussion and a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve giving Stephanie the list of escrow closures each month.
I'll
I like to
second.
second it.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
We're going to give the second to Director Bianchi, please.
Can I ask one question?
Discussion is open.
Okay. Is it any impact to staff, as far as giving the information out?
Colleen, you don't assume.
So you already get that list.
Okay.
You already get that list in your consent calendar every month. It would be a simple matter to set it up where Stephanie could either come in and we can give it to her after it's been prepared for the board, or I could get your email and try and remember to email it to you each month. But yeah, it's something that we do already prepare.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of Larry's motion, say aye.
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 Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so the motion passes 6-1.
Okay, and that's into my report.
Not the first time, hopefully the last.
Okay, so we're moving on, folks, to item 8, which is committee activities, and the first one there is finance.
And the Finance Committee has not met yet this month. They'll be meeting at the end of the month this month.
Okay, that concludes your report.
Yep.
Moving on to the Architectural Review Committee.
The Architectural Review Committee met this month, and we approved a couple of driveway variances and a couple of leases. And I would like to make a motion that we approve the extending common area lease for lot 1112 and lot 2015. Just, it's a change of ownership on both of those.
I'll second that motion.
All right, motion and second. Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor of change of ownership for lots 1112 and 2015, say aye.
Aye.
Opposition? Motion passes unanimous.
I'd also like to make a motion for approval of a common area lease for lot 167, and that's for the addition of a deck, and there were, when the letter was sent out, there were no objections to from the neighbors. And a pool, I'm sorry, deck and a pool.
So is this for both? Is this lot?
Yes.
Okay, so.
Yeah, a bed deck and a pool on lot 167.
And 1702 is also part of your motion?
No.
Separate.
Separate.
Sorry. Okay, so there's a motion to amend the common area lease agreement, lot 167.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? 7-0.
And I'd like to recommend that the board approve a pool for lot 1702. There was one objection from the letter sent out to the neighbors, and that was the neighbor closest to them. And they complained about that they're already fairly noisy, and a pool would add to that. But the committee, the ARC committee recommended approval unanimously. So I'm
Okay.
recommending we approve that.
That's your motion?
Yes?
I'll second.
I got a second. Thank you. Any further discussion? All right. Seeing none, all in favor of common area lease agreement, lot number 1702, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes.
Mark, do we need to do anything on the swimming pool for lot 1255? No. Okay. All right. And that concludes my report on our committee.
All right. And Mr. Parsons, by the way, I like the beard. Looks good.
You need to gain a little weight, though, if you want to be Santa.
Well, it started after my daughter was
All right. Very good. Okay. Sorry, Don?
Yes.
All right. Communications Committee.
Okay, the Communications Committee met on Wednesday, October 10th. We didn't have any residents come, so first thing is we updated the latest subscriber numbers from Greenfield. And the next agenda item was our RMA welcome packets. Actually, this was something we decided to take a look at before everything else. But there was the wooden bridge map that we wanted to update because it hadn't been updated since it was original. We wanted to make sure we included language from the plaque that's on the bridge, you know, that kind of gives the history of it, who was kind of responsible for it, you know, the bridge span, you know, that it's an important way, it's the only way to get to Rancho Murieta north and the south within the gate. So I think that's something that needed to be updated. And we decided to keep the information in the packets, just to local and community groups only, and not go outside that. One interesting conversation that came out of that is RMA doesn't have a color copier. Yeah, they don't, and they only have 2 printers that print color. So that may be something we want to look at.
Greg?
Is that true?
Greg, you want to confirm or deny?
Well, that's what I told her, but Denise is shaking her head no. So I guess they just haven't showed me the color copier yet.
Okay, well, anyway, so.
Wait, how did they get that? Remember the agenda that's in red? No, that's a printer.
Yeah, well,
right?
that's a printer. Well, and it came because we were talking about maybe doing the map in color, and then someone said, well, you know. So if they don't have a color copier, maybe that's something we should look at during our budget. Yeah, Christmas.
I charge 10 cents for a color copy.
What color copy? Who's running that staff?
I don't know. And then the next thing on, we discussed the new website. 3 of the committee members agreed to do the testing at the same time as the RMA board members. One of the committee members is already familiar with the software as they own a home in another community that uses the neighbor website. And she indicated the best thing she found most beneficial was the fact that they were getting calendar, you know, updates from the calendar for events. So she really liked it and was real enthusiastic and thought it might be a real good work match for RMA.
Good.
And we didn't set a date for our next meeting because we'll probably be meeting before our next quarterly meeting when we get the software available.
Great.
And that's where we left it.
Thank you. Great. Item D, Compliance Grievance Safety Committee.
Mr. President, we met on Tuesday, October 2nd at our compliance meeting. It was another month of 2 binders, but we dealt with it just fine.
Are you getting stronger? I mean, you're just putting on some bulk.
Judith is really bulking up right now, for those who might know Judith. And just to sum it up, as Denise has mentioned to me in the past, don't get hung up on numbers. They won't necessarily, if we're getting the message across that to obey the CCNRs and to drive safely in our community, then yes, you're going to see a reduction of speeding violations. And hopefully in the future, stop signs, those seem to be consistent.
That's not going to reflect the fact that they're not enforcing them.
I'm keeping a close eye on that. To be honest with you, what I do is I keep a spreadsheet. So every violation, I write down date, time, location, and officer. And also what it was, whether it's speeding, parking, or stop sign. So nicely put, I'm going to hold CSD accountable on that.
Just an observation, there's been a significant change in the way people drive the last couple of months.
That is a good reflection of the help from CSD. I have to give them credit on that.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Good. We will continue our discussion on security matters next week.
Yes, we will.
All right. Another meeting? Very good. No, you don't need to be at that one.
Well,
All right.
you can show up.
I'll probably do
Oh, I'm sorry. We're at the governing docs.
Who is that committee?
Boy, it's so big.
Nothing.
Okay.
You got nothing.
Does
huh?
that conclude your report? Maintenance.
No maintenance, huh? Larry?
Maintenance, oh, I'm sorry, I was yawning, I didn't hear you.
Doesn't look like there's anything in there.
Rob hadn't said anything for a while, I fell asleep.
Alex, you're supposed to wake him up.
All right.
Maintenance did not meet this month.
Okay.
No report.
Super recreation. Is that what we're on? Yeah, recreation.
Recreation Committee did not meet this past month.
Okay. I do have a quick question for recreation.
Yep.
It's come to my attention that there's a potential Instagram account and Snapchat account with recreation and RMA, RMA.rec, recreation.rma. Are you aware of that?
I am.
What could you shed some light on that? What is
Yeah,
that?
we discussed
And
creating.
who's we?
Oh, sorry. When we were looking at launching Casino Night, I discussed with Greg whether or not he was okay with us creating social media accounts to promote our Casino Night event. We discussed that.
And he specifically approved Instagram and Snapchat?
I don't know that the accounts were specified. We did discuss social media.
Yeah, I think we discussed a Facebook account for Casino Night, yeah.
Facebook account for Casino Night? Yeah. Okay. So you're not aware of an Instagram or a Snapchat?
No.
Okay.
Is it just for casino night? that you're
The
using it?
purpose is to use it for Casino Night. So part of our publicity for the event was they're all essentially linked because you can link all of those accounts.
So when you do post on one, it goes to the others?
Yeah, so the point of so at Casino Night event, we're going to be having people tag like their pictures, so then it posts, and then there's going to be like a raffle prize associated with a picture associated with the event or whatnot. That was the purpose of it.
Now, will you draw more attention to Casino Night with Snapchat and Instagram? versus
It
Facebook?
helps publicize the event. Different people use different social media outlets.
Okay, so just for clarification purposes, those accounts are just for Casino Night?
That's the only intended
That's all
purpose
they
of
have.
it.
Okay. So now that we're aware of it, or the board is aware of it, okay, all right. We just need to make sure we have run those through the board.
Okay, my apologies. I was.
I want to make sure we're on the same page.
Actually, that's my bus too, because I told her we had the Facebook account, so.
Okay. Well, this new website's going to help maybe
Yep.
with this.
We'll have a website. yeah.
Well, website, yeah.
Okay. Okay, and that was, I did have one question for Denise. How did I know it's been months since we had 4th of July, but how did the hiring of security work this year with that? Did we did okay on that?
It worked well,
Okay.
so.
I forgot to add, it's been months and I just forgot to ask, so. Okay, so we plan on doing that again? Okay, sweet. You have correspondence listed on the agenda? I didn't see any correspondence.
None this month, no.
None?
No.
Okay. So that leaves us, as I said, we're injecting board member comments, our 3-minute comment session. Does anyone want to have anything to say? Director Brandt.
I do. Okay. So now that the work on Highway 16 and Scott Road seems to be completed, I'd like to take this time to look at what we've accomplished. The new signs on Scott Road that were added, and the new lane up by Lone Pine, and the additional traffic signal ahead road sign that was put on Highway 16 all improve the safety of the roads. It also gives us a starting point as to what to expect as far as road improvements when more development occurs. We will never get a bridge across Deer Creek on Scott Road, and any other changes to Highway 16 do not seem likely in the near future. So basically what we have is what we have. Based on the residents coming forward with their concerns and the board's actions, we did improve the safety of the roads, not only for residents, but for all others. I feel this is an accomplishment the board can be proud of, and we couldn't have done it without the support of CSD, the county, and the state. So I think that's it for road letters.
Right.
Road letters.
Thanks, Joanne.
You're welcome.
Any other comments on my left flank over here?
I was wondering if we're going to revisit the Escuela Gate anytime soon?
Well, I believe it's, is it on our budget?
We'll be talking about it at the budget meeting maybe, or?
Town hall meeting.
At the budget meeting, yes.
So we have it, then we have it two places. We have it on our agenda next week.
Oh, okay.
And then it's also on our budget.
Okay.
Because we were setting aside, or planning on setting aside some.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
So, to be continued.
Well, I would expect that when you're talking about your securities meeting, when you have your town hall securities meeting, there'll be, I don't know if there'll be people that'll come in favor of it or whatever, but I think that is a topic that, you know, we're going to have to get cleared up with CSD because they have an opinion of it one way and that kind of thing. So I want to have some more discussion about that.
I think we plan on doing that.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
Actually, I could have brought this up at a different points this evening, but I understand that we are short a security officer for RMA.
Compliance officer.
Yeah, compliance officer. How's that progressing to replace?
I think I'm almost getting there.
I'm sorry?
I think I'm almost getting there.
Good.
So.
I think that was kind of a critical element as we were trying to control traffic early on, the speeding and stop sign violation. I think that was a critical element, was having that officer there, or that person there and active. And I think it's pretty important to keep that current.
Yeah, that person also plays a vital role in property maintenance too.
Sure.
Nobody thinks that role is more important than I do, because I'm having to pick it up right now, so let me tell you.
And I agree with that one. Denise needs the help.
Thank you, that's all.
Since you're on the mic, do you want to add anything else for 3 minutes?
No, we're good to go.
Okay, all right. All right. I do want to take a moment just to thank staff again for all your work that you guys do. I mean, these packets are amazing, and thanks again for what you guys do. The day-to-day stuff, you know, it's a lot of work, and I appreciate what you guys do. So I noticed you guys are a little short-handed today, so it's the way things roll sometimes.
Rod's at Disney World, so.
Okay, so
Guys going to a concert.
this is Rob's favorite part of the meeting. Hold on. So, announcements. We have a full calendar, so everyone take your calendars out. We have a full calendar, so tomorrow night, if this wasn't fun enough for you, tomorrow night we have a candidates night right here, 7 p.m. And then after that, we have our joint security meeting, which will be here next Wednesday, the
6 p.m. 24th.
24th, thank you.
We have a meeting before candidates.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, the candidates night is tomorrow.
Yeah, but we have a budget meeting before that, right?
No.
Don't we have something
Before
before?
tomorrow?
Yeah, before candidates night.
No, the candidates night's tomorrow.
What, you know, that was on
we don't
the
have a
agenda
budget.
at one time, and we
It
moved
got-
it to November.
Things got
Okay.
moved, yes, it's at
Who's gonna show up
November,
here
it's
at 6
November
o'clock?
8th.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so sorry, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get this straight. I know you guys are all looking at your calendars. All right, so let's do this right. Okay, so tomorrow is candidates night, 7 p.m. right here.
Right.
Then next Wednesday, the 24th, we have our town hall meeting on security matters. That's right here as well. We have a time on that?
6.
6 o'clock for that.
Yep.
Okay, then we have our budget meeting, which is the
November 8th.
November 8th, thank you. That'll be in here as well. And then our regularly scheduled November meeting is going to be moved to the 13th of November, so we don't conflict, because the regular meeting date would have been 2 days before Thanksgiving, and so we moved it to the week before, so mark your calendars. And then we also have our annual meeting, which will be Thursday, November the 15th. Anyone need any of that repeated? Good.
You left out Halloween.
That's a lot of meetings.
Halloween, that's a lot of meetings, Rob, yeah. And we are going to go into executive session after this, so everyone else, we are adjourned. Thank you.